So my project is done through Empowered Youth Programs Incorporated. And with the project, we provided K-12 counselor training. And the icons that you see at the bottom are the three components that makes up Empowered Youth Programs. The components are GOT'em, or Gentlemen on the Move, WYS, Young Women Scholars, and then the final are Parents of Empowered Youth.
Nice.
So the instructional goal, before I give you the instructional goal, I'll give you just a little bit of background. And that is, this program is a program based out of the University of Georgia, out of the counseling department with one of the professors, Dr. Darrell Bailey, and his wife, who is a Clark County science teacher, high school science teacher. And so this particular program has been one that has been around for a very long time. They brought it from Asheville, North Carolina, here to Clark County with them when they moved. Well, my children are a part of this program as well. And so what I began to notice as a parent is that when my children started in elementary school, enrollment was really high. However, in the past couple of years, 3-4 years, I've noticed that enrollment has declined. So, after speaking to the directors of the program to see, okay, so just what is it can we do to take a look at what's going on here? You know, of course, they had some ideas, but we wanted to look at something a little more concrete. And so, in addition to that, as a parent of children participating in the program, I understood the benefits of the program. And then as an educator, I really understood not only the influence of the program, the power of the program, but I also understood the power of K-12 personnel. I understand the power of counselors. I understand the power of teachers and support staff. So we identified the need as to provide information to systems that may be unaware of this particular program, with the goal being to increase program enrollment. And so what we did was we wanted to provide some program history and background, program eligibility, and continued support for guidance counselors, or they are now professional school counselors. They're not guidance counselors anymore in the Athens, Clark, and surrounding counties and school systems as they support students. Looking at learners, performance, context, and tools, learners in this project are primarily going to be K-12 counselors. They will then take this learning tool, they will share it with staff, and they can share it with administration, teachers, paraprofessionals, after school program employees, anyone that they believe will come into contact with students that may recognize the need. So counselors have access to different information that a lot of other K-12 personnel does not have access to. Some of that information are Lexile scores, standardized test scores. They may know of some of the academic strengths and weaknesses of students. And so we thought that would be the group to target. Tools may include, but are not limited to, systems such as Infinite Campus, Power School, and IEPs. Other tools may include access to transfer data and record from other schools and school districts. Teachers and paraprofessionals may be able to provide insight into the personal and social circumstances of students. Looking at the Mager and Pike performance analysis model, there is a performance gap, and that justifies an instructional component. So along with word of mouth, high enrollment in EYP was directly related to the knowledge of the program by K-12 employees. Over time, as we all know, personnel changes, and with those personnel changes, goes the knowledge a lot of times that they have about programs that are not school-based. So these people know about the program, they know about the benefits, but when they move on, someone else must replace them. So in looking at performance conditions and criteria, performance is to maintain contact with the student, providing follow-up and effectiveness of the program. Conditions follow the grades and the courses of concern. And criterion is a monthly meeting with the student, feedback from all interested parties, and weekly/monthly progress reports from EYP. So these progress reports will be provided to students from the program, for which they can then they can take those and turn those into their respective schools. So with this training module, we'll provide and train K-12 counselors on the program. Skills are simply their ability to show and view presentation via PowerPoint. The knowledge, the benefits of the program, attitude. They must have a positive attitude in order to sell the program to educators and to students. After all, this is a Saturday school program. So without a positive attitude, it would be very difficult to sell going to school on a Saturday. Looking at some entry-level behaviors for an effective instructional opportunity, it's imperative that these minimum skills be in place. Counselors must be able to access and determine students that fall within that target population. They must be willing to inform other parties of the program benefits and opportunities. Educators must be willing to share these opportunities with students. Counselors must be willing to share information with parents. And program directors must be supportive to the needs of the counselors as they come up. I just wanted to sort of just highlight just towards the bottom. You'll see that while the goal is to increase enrollment for Empowered Youth programs, it's equally important that educators across all discipline and grade levels are made aware of outside programs. And further, the larger goal is to increase the success of students and reduce the retention and dropout rates. As the project moved on, looking at page 2, was the learner analysis. The performance setting is simply going to be a training room, or it may be in a cafeteria. It's just got to be somewhere where presentation tools are available. So looking at Dick, Carey, and Carey's 4 factors, managerial support, whereby learners will receive support for both EYP directors and my support as a consultant to them. The availability to physical aspects, such as open tours and opportunities for observations on any scheduled meeting date with students at either program location, which is going to be at either Cedar Shoals High School or the University of Georgia. And also the side note is that Cedar Shoals High School is used on home football game days. So that's why there are 2 locations. So counselors will be able to identify students' needs and interests and determine if they're a good candidate for the program. Should I? Okay, just, this is all. Am I to stop at phase 2? Or did you want to continue?
No, I mean, ideally, you're gonna tell us the everything, you know, what the plan was, what you did, and how it carried out.
Okay.
I mean, it's your call for now, but I mean, if you
Okay,
have
I
that.
wasn't sure if we were going through the entire project or not. Okay. So we do, just as a pre-instructional activity, we would show a video. The video would consist of local students' testimonials. The idea there is that some of the adults would be familiar with the students that they see. And so that might, the hope is that that would sort of strike some sort of invested interest in the program by seeing kids that they know. It would also be important to highlight the importance of counselors. We give a client satisfaction survey. This was given to the client just to get going, and here are the results of that client survey. Okay. Looking at phase 3, again, the terminal objective here is upon completion of this training, counselors and graduation coaches will be able to identify students' needs and interests. Okay, so the video, for the most part, will be made up of student voices and adults speaking because of the restrictions. Formative evaluation will use Dick, Carey, and Carey's recommendation of one-to-one evaluations, small group evaluations, and then field study / training evaluations. And those evaluations can all be done with we'd like for it to have been done with the program directors, but if I were requested, well then it would be no problem for me to come in and consult with them as well. To potentially, we thought that it would be important to provide incentives to the students. And we'd invite counselors to visit the program themselves and encourage counselors to invite teachers to come and visit as well. And then as far as students, they would be encouraged to visit for at least 1 hour, just to see if they may be impressed. They may or may not be impressed, but at least they're not making a commitment. So similar to PBIS, we thought that it might be important to offer students some type of incentives. Again, we're talking about a Saturday program. Level 1 of Kirkpatrick's model is that it's important to make sure that the learners will enjoy the presentation, and we would do a quick survey right after the presentation, and if they liked it, then they'll likely learn from it. In level 2, by that time we have data before and after, and it's an easy way to measure learning. Level 3, it's important to continue to follow up with counselors to be sure that they continue to present this as an option to students. The design and implementation of this project is simple enough to remain relevant well after the terms of the contract have been completed. After all revisions are made, it's important for the client to update the material as necessary. And if they need to visit sites, they need to visit those sites as well, just to make sure. Again, here's the second client satisfaction survey. And for the most part, the questions were the same. It was just a matter of progression, how they felt throughout the progression. Okay. I definitely